Hey y'all, yesterday we talked about some new vocab words with some parallel lines, right? So we had some lines, maybe they look something like, well, hopefully straighter than that, but like this. And we said we have line 1, line 2, line 3. And maybe we know that these two are parallel to each other. We can use this little arrow, or we could just say line 1's parallel to line 2, right? Whichever one they give us. And we know that line 3 is a transversal then, and it gives us all sorts of angles. And so we talked about how those angles are related, but today we're going to talk about how to kind of solve for each type of angle. And we're going to do it in the style of a 2-column proof. What that means is on one side we're going to have information we know. On the other side we're going to put information, how did we get that knowledge? Why do we know that to be true? So, for example here, let's start with the fact that angle 1 is 61 degrees. Sure. Let's say I measured it and I found out angle 1 was 61 degrees. Now what we want to be able to do is, since we know that, we want to be able to find all of these angles. I might run out of room here. We'll do this. There we go. I just want you guys to be able to see. I'm not sure how far down. Oh yeah, we're good, we're good. So we know angle 1 is 61 degrees. So we want to find all the other angles, and I want to know how we know that. So, for example, how big is angle 2 if angle 1 is 61 degrees? Well, what do we know about angle 1 and angle 2? We have to look at the relationships we know. In this case, they are supplementary. They're right next to each other. They make this straight line, right? So I know that if angle 1 is 61 degrees, angle 2 has to add up to 180 with it. So that looks like 119. Because 119 plus 61 is 180. And so the reason we would say is because it's supplementary to angle 1. We're going to use the angle they gave us to find angle 2. That's what we did, right? It's supplementary to angle 1, so therefore it has to be 119 degrees. And we're going to kind of do this thing for all these angles. So now we look at angle 3. Well, I know that angle 2 and angle 3 are related to each other as well, right? Angle 2 and angle 3 are congruent angles, because those were the words that we talked about. They are corresponding to each other. So I'm going to say that if angle 2 is 119 degrees, angle 3 has to also be 119 degrees, right? They're the same, because they are corresponding. So angle 3 is corresponding to angle 2. So I know that angle 3 is also 119 degrees. Cool. What about angle 4? Well, we know angle 1, that was given to us. So we could get angle 4 using angle 1. There's no connection between angle 4 and angle 2, but there is between 4 and 3. So we can either say it's supplementary to 3, or let's use angle 1, because I like that one. So angle 1 and angle 4, those are congruent. So I know that angle 4 is also 61 degrees. And that's because those are alternate exterior. So we're going to write alternate exterior to angle 1. Use the info we have so far. So you can see, maybe you can see, hopefully you can see, that as we keep going in this puzzle, we're going to get more and more pieces that we can actually play with. So now we can use angle 2, 3, 4, or angle 1 that they gave us to start with. At the beginning, we could only use angle 1, right? I couldn't say, for example, that angle A6 is something because of angle 7, because I don't know either of those yet. So I have to only use the stuff that I know to keep going. So angle 5, well, angle 5 is the same as angle 4, right? Because those are vertical angles, so I know that these are congruent. So angle 5 is also 61 degrees because it's vertical to angle 4. And then angle 6, again, you can use your favorite method from there. I'm just going to use vertical to 2 because we know 2. So angle 6 has to also be 119 degrees because it's vertical to angle 2. And then angle 7, we have a load of choices that we could go from. Let's see, why haven't we used that? Let's use 5. So I know 7 and 5 are the same. They're congruent because 7 is alternate interior to angle 5. And the last one, angle 8, has to be the same as angle 3. So it's going to be 119 degrees. And we'll just put, because it's vertical, to angle 3. So what we're doing here is we're solving this puzzle. We're finding each of these angles. And to find it, we're going to use some of the vocab that we learned, right? We're going to use a reason. Here's why this angle. I know for a fact the angle 8 is 119 degrees because it's vertical to angle 3, or it's supplementary to angle 5, or it's supplementary to angle 4, or it's corresponding to angle 6, or it's alternate interior to angle 2. I could use all of those reasons by the time I get to the end. So at the beginning, it's a little bit slow because you have to figure out, like there's a specific way you got to do it. But after that, it's not so bad. So let's go. Let's go with this. And let's say I know these two are parallel. And here's some angles. And again, let's start with angle 1. And let's say that angle 1 is in fact 126 degrees. So sometimes we write that that's just given to us. They gave us on angle 1. And let's find the rest of them, okay? So angle 2. Well, angle 1 and angle 2 look like they are vertical to each other. So they're going to be congruent. That's also 126. It's vertical to angle 1. Angle 3, I don't care if you use angle 2 or angle 1, we'll use angle 1. But it looks like those two are next to each other, so they're supplementary. So they have to add up to 180. So let's see, angle 1 is 126. So if I do 180 minus 126, that's going to give me 54 degrees. And we'll just write that it was sup to angle 1. Angle 4, we can go to angle 4. I know that angle 4 and angle 1 are related, or 2, but I'll use 1. So angle 4 is going to be the same as angle 1. They're congruent because they are alternate interior. So alternate interior to angle 1. So far we've only used angle 1, which is pretty cool. Angle 5, we cannot use angle 1 for angle 5. But we could use angle 4. That's a good idea. So we know that 4 and 5 are next to each other. That means they're supplementary. So if it has to add up to 180, angle 5 would have to be 54 degrees because it's supplementary to angle 4. See how they add up to 180, right? All right, keep going. Angle 6 is supplementary to angle 1. We can use that. So it's not going to be 126, right? To add up to 180, it's going to have to be 54 degrees because it's supplementary to angle 1. Angle 7, we can use angle 1 for that one. That'll be fun. Angle 7 is corresponding to angle 1, so they have to be congruent. So I know this one's 126 degrees because it's corresponding to angle 1. I don't know, can you see that in the camera? It's cut off a little bit. Whoop, there we go. Corresponding to angle 1. And my very last angle, angle 8, is not related to angle 1. We'll just say it's vertical to 5. So 5 is 54, so that means 8 is also 54 because it's vertical to angle 5. Now notice that I went in order. You don't necessarily have to go in order every time. I just kind of like doing that to see. Sometimes it's not even possible, I guess. But just make sure that you are very careful with your vocab and you're going to fill in the picture the same way each time. So on your workbook page, you don't have to fill in a full one. They're just going to ask you specific, but make sure that you explain how you get there. That is the most important part. So don't just put it's 52 degrees. That's great if it is 52 degrees. Tell me, why is it 52 degrees? Is it supplementary to angle 2, which is vertical to angle 7? Right? So make sure that you explain how you get from point A to point B. Cool? Let me know if you have any questions. I'll be here.